Park.
The title of this video is Proof God is Real Using Science by Brett Keane.
All right, let's see if this lives up to the promise.
All right. Now I gotta turn this music down because he'll be like, "You're playing my music."
Oh, by the way, Brett Keane told me, he said, next time Ben plays my video, he can play the music. That's all replayed original work.
Sure. Yeah, I trust him.
He just wanted to let me tell you that.
Okay.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Brett Keane.
By the way, he's been wearing that same shirt for literally days now.
But this shirt has
I saw someone on the
sleeves.
Reddit post that, and they kept showing like how he's been wearing the same shirt for like days.
That shirt had sleeves. This one doesn't. This is sleeveless.
Okay. Well,
does he have the sleeves rolled up?
Well, I don't know, but he might actually. It kind of, I don't know.
They could be rolled up.
Yeah, I think it's the same fucking shirt.
The shirt had like some graphics on the front.
Anyway,
if you'd like to support my work, you can do a one-time donation through PayPal.
Okay.
You can also contact me through my Gmail account that is right below the video. Also, check out myminds.com/Brett Keane.
Okay.
If you'd like to see videos that are not on YouTube, as well as articles and blogs.
Okay.
Any support you can do would be working out there trying to do that. A lot of people like to stay in their safe zone, stay away from trying to do this. But I'm going to...
Wow.
Why do I feel like it wasn't the robot saying the last line, but it was actually like Antonovich said it?
Yeah.
Use science to show why it is that it's rational and logical to accept that a God exists and that a God actually created this universe.
This guy was the first big YouTube atheist originally, and now he's a God believer.
Because of science.
Okay.
Now, first of all, one of the things you have to ask yourself is, can you destroy matter? Can you destroy energy? The first law of thermodynamics doesn't actually specify that matter can neither be created nor destroyed, but instead that the total amount of energy...
Sorry, I meant about 6 years. Time flies when you get mad puss 24/7. I hate this piece of shit Brett Keane, by the way. He's the reason my dick doesn't work.
Yeah.
I get mad pussy 24/7 and my dick doesn't work in the same donation.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
Maybe he licks it.
Okay.
Maybe he's chief like a lot of puss.
Cannot be created nor destroyed, though it can be changed from one form to another. Whenever we look at can matter be changed, it has only changed its state of matter from a liquid to a solid. It has changed its appearance and shape, but it is still water. You can change the ice back into water by letting it melt. Matter looks different when it changes states, but it stays the same kind of matter.
Okay.
Do humans have matter?
Yes.
All everyday objects that we touch are ultimately composed of atoms, which are made up of interacting subatomic particles, and in everyday as well as scientific usage, matter generally includes atoms and anything made up of them. And any particles or combination of...
So when are you going to stop reading this and explain how this explains the existence of God?
Particles that act as if they have both rest.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, pause. Sorry, my mic disconnected. I wanted to stop you earlier.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah. So his saying the matter stays the same regardless of anything else. Actually, can we move it back to like when he was talking about water changing states?
Yes.
Sorry,
yes.
my mic was. I didn't notice that my mic was disconnected.
No problem. And by the way, guys, thanks for helping us meet our goal. We'll be doing a bonus show next week, and I'm going to change the goal to something smaller if you guys want to keep sending in messages. And yeah, let's see what Brett says here.
And logical to accept that a God exists and that a God actually created this universe. Now, first of all, one of the things you have to ask yourself is, can you destroy matter? Can you destroy energy? The first law of thermodynamics doesn't actually specify that matter can neither be created nor destroyed, but instead that the total amount of energy in a closed system cannot be created nor destroyed, though it can be changed from one form to another. Whenever we look at can matter be changed, it has only changed its state of matter from a liquid to a solid. It has changed its appearance and shape, but it is still water. You can change the ice back into water by letting it melt. Matter looks different when it changes states, but it stays the same kind of matter.
Okay, pause.
Yeah.
This is obviously not correct. If anybody knows anything about nuclear physics, from nuclear fusion or nuclear fission, you can get the same. You can get different types of matter. You take two hydrogens and you fuse them, like in the core of the sun, and you end up with helium. It's not the same kind of matter. You change the chemical element. And same with decay processes. You can start out with uranium and then have it go down the decay chain down to lead. So that's already wrong.
All right. So the beginning of his entire premise here is wrong.
So he's not going to be able to prove God, right?
I don't know if it's a premise or if it's just something on the side, but I guess just keep note of that as we move along.
All right.
Do humans have matter? All everyday objects that we touch are ultimately composed of atoms, which are made up of interacting subatomic particles, and in everyday as well as scientific usage, matter generally includes atoms and anything made up of them, and any particles or combination of particles that act as if they have both rest. All right.
I think he means rest mass.
By the way, he's laying on his belly in his bed. This is how he makes all of his videos.
His brain is weighing him down, so I can understand.
One last thing we're going to point out before we go into this discussion. We have to give some energy to nucleus to free protons and neutrons. That energy is converted into mass. If photon is near an atomic nucleus, the energy of a photon can be converted into electron and a positron. The photon's energy is converted into particles mass through Einstein's equation.
You know, this is so fucking bad.
Okay, so I don't know if he said, maybe I misheard. It sounded like he said this process can only take place near the nucleus.
He said nucleus, but yeah, I think that's what he meant.
Okay, well, it is true that you can get that you have this kind of matter and antimatter reaction taking place with creation and annihilation of photons, but it doesn't have to take place near a nucleus. So yeah.
Now, one last thing we're going to point out.
So this is where he starts to ad-lib, I hope.
And we're going to get into this. Hopefully, you guys are following along and understand. I usually...
Hopefully you guys can understand this.
Yes, Professor Keane, I'll be sure to come to office hours to make sure.
My video's very simple and standard, so people will be able to follow along. But it's important that I point these things out about science and what we know about the universe before we go into an argument about the existence of God. Matter takes up space, has mass, and composes most of the visible universe around you. Yet both matter and energy are variations of the same thing.
Okay, let's pause. Most of the visible universe is actually not made up of matter, at least not conventional baryonic matter. Actually, not mostly composed of matter, period. Most of the universe is actually dominated by dark energy, by I think maybe like 70%. And only 4% or so of the universe is composed of baryonic matter, the kind of matter that we can see. So yeah.
Can convert into the other. According to Einstein and the first law of thermodynamics, a fixed quantity of energy and matter exists in the universe. That means there's a fixed amount of energy and mass in the universe. Everything you see around you, anything that you recognize as energy, whether it's yourself or the material around you, it's all fixed energy. This means that the energy that is you and the energy of these things around you, they can be transformed in shape. They can be transformed into a different type of state, but the energy will continue to exist forever, or at least until the universe itself dies, which, according to scientists, there are many different theories that one day either the universe will have a heat death or a cold death, or it will expand so far out in expansion that everything will be affected by something that is called the second law of thermodynamics, entropy, where all things will go into chaos and disorder.
Okay, pause. This is a common misreading of the second law of thermodynamics. This is not actually Brett's fault. A lot of people oversimplify the meaning of entropy as meaning chaos and disorder. But in fact, if the universe does ever reach an anthropic heat death, where entropy is at its maximum, what you're actually going to end up with is a universe full of uniform particles that are suspended in uniformity. In it's just going to be, from an intuitive kind of standpoint, it's going to be perfect order. I don't just imagine a universe filled with the same kind of particle that are all equally distanced away from each other. Intuitively, that doesn't seem like chaos and disorder. To me, that seems orderly. So this definition of entropy, it's a whole discussion. I have a video called "The Arrogance of Creationism" Part 2, where I look at it in a little bit more depth. But let's move on.
All right, so hopefully you guys all got that.
Thank you, Professor.
I like how he walked on his elbows. He like inched over with his elbows. Yeah.
A Catholic priest a long time.
His sleeves are, by the way, are almost absolutely rolled up.
You think so?
Yeah, I can see like the little wrinkles that it causes. Yeah.
Oh wait! Pause. I'm betting that he mentioned a Catholic priest, so I'm guessing he's about to mention Georges Lemaitre and the Big Bang Theory, and he's going to conclude that because the universe has a beginning, it must have a creator. Basically, using what we know about the Big Bang to rephrase the Kalam argument. That's my. I'm going to bet $10 on that.
Okay.
And if I'm wrong, I'll donate those $10 to the stream.
That the universe had a beginning.
Aha!
And he based it not only on science, but also based upon what the Bible claims, that the universe had a beginning. He believed that God was the prime mover, the eternal prime mover that always existed, was not created, something did not create it. And the reason why a prime mover could exist is because it existed outside of time, space, and nature itself. It existed outside of the universe, so it wasn't affected by the natural laws.
Okay, pause. We have left the realm of physics and have now entered the realm of metaphysics. So there's little to say here. That we're not talking science anymore. Now we're talking theology and armchair kind of speculating about the nature of the supernatural and what's outside of the universe and whatever that means. Let's just.
It seems like a pretty big jump.
Do you think
from what he was talking about to what he's talking about now?
Do you think Brett speculates laying on his bed so he can't be accused of armchair speculation?
I suspect, perhaps, yes. Let's continue.
We will also talk about, can God actually be affected by the natural laws of the universe? Is he restricted by what the laws of nature do?
It seems like he's restricted by the laws that he supposedly created, too. I don't know.
Yeah, the existence of these laws in the first place implies some kind of design constraints. When people look at things like the universe has to be finely tuned with just these exact constants in order to support life, that doesn't speak to me of a God that is capable of producing any kind of design. It seems like he has to operate on the basis of some set of constraints. And if he does create these artificial constraints, what for?
Right.
Let's continue.
Now, as you can see, if the universe had a beginning, then that means at some point in time, energy itself as well as time itself, as well as nature itself, came into existence.
There's actually...
Okay, pause.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so this is another common misconception about the Big Bang. A lot of science popularizers will say that the Big Bang represents the event that caused the universe to come into existence.
To get on the show right now.
To get on the show? I don't know. We'll discuss that in a moment. Sorry for the interruption there. Go ahead.
Yeah, no worries. Okay, so Big Bang does not necessarily represent the point at which the universe came into existence from a previous state of non-existence. What the Big Bang represents is the transition of the universe from the very hot and dense state into the current cool and sparse one. If you look at the development of nature as it changed within the first few fractions of a second of the Big Bang, you have the uncoupling of gravity from the other three major forces, and then you have the uncoupling of those forces. But it's only after the first 10 to the negative 38 seconds, I think, or 10 to the negative 37, 38 seconds after the Big Bang, that the universe reaches a state where we can describe it with our known laws of physics. Prior to that point, you need a theory that we don't yet have that unites our understanding of gravity with the other fundamental forces. And of course, since we don't have that theory, there's nothing we can really say about that time interval.
You can say Gord did it. That's how Brett says God, Gord.
Yeah.
There's an entire book of Keane-isms because he's known for saying a lot of words wrong. So someone made a children's book, and they sell it on Amazon. It's very well illustrated.
Yeah.
And it's just a book made up of all the weird Keane-isms that he says. And one of them is as well as. He'll go on this long as well as. It's great.
Yeah. But here's the key point. The beginning of nature and energy, it's not necessarily the case that the Big Bang represents the beginning of that existence. It may well be the case that you have this previous state. The universe is in this hot, dense state, operating via some set of physics that, as I said, we don't yet have the theory for. And then for reasons that we don't yet understand, it expands into the current cool and sparse one. But there's nothing about the Big Bang Theory that necessitates energy beginning to exist at some point.
The whole universe was in a hot, dense
I feel
state.
100% dumber listening to you talk, honestly. But yeah. It's making sense to me, though. I listen to a lot of the stuff Brett says, and it just sounds like babble to me. But this is a video where he's reading stuff.
When laymen listen to a genius talk, it all often sounds like babble, right? Like you're just not on Brett's level.
That's true. Brett, Dr. Keane is beyond our comprehension.
I scrolled ahead into the video where he takes a big gulp of his Coca-Cola.
Had to be that which we define as God. There is simply no other explanation for it whatsoever. There is not even a theory on what could have possibly...
See, I told you, for a second, I was like, you forgot Gord's explaining it.
...possibly caused this. The best that the atheist scientists have been able to come up with is somehow, out of nothing, things just came into existence.
The atheist scientists could say that.
This is... Oh my God. Okay, this is probably a misreading of Lawrence Krauss, but putting that to the side, it's basically what I suspected. The universe, quote unquote, began to exist in this event, the Big Bang, and the atheist scientists have nothing but absurd explanations, therefore gored.
Yeah,
it's an argument from ignorance. I think everyone's already seen this before. I think everyone has already knows the standard debunkings for this nonsense.
Yeah. That's what he does. He's been making the same videos for at least 5 years now. He's a big fan of Trump too. So
He's not a fan of Bernie here?
no.
This isn't Trump's nightmare?
I don't know what this is that he decided to throw on to the end. What is this?
If making it easy to be an illegal alien isn't enough, how about offering a reward for being an illegal immigrant? No.
Oh, whatever. This is weird political shit he decided to throw onto the
An
end.
award or a reward for being an illegal immigrant?
I guess so. He's playing selective clips.
I like how Trump is attentively watching this. You think this is how Trump studies to run America?
Now I'm going to play an Adam Eternal video.
Oh,